The Hive Java server crashed and burned into nothingness. Some servers, such as the one we'll be looking at today, are attempting to replace the server, which games haven't been sufficiently stolen by Hypixel. Now, you may be wondering why I put Appliance Review in the title. Some people watching may not care about the Hive or a Revive server review, but I know for a fact that all of my 456 subscribers love appliances and mourn the days all those Samsung washing machines caught on fire.
I love refrigerators.
I will do this video in the same format-ish of an appliance review. The only problem is that I don't know how to do an appliance review, so give me a second. Now that I know how appliance reviews work, let's begin. We'll start with competition. This server has barely any competition. While looking for Hive remakes, I know another one is under development. There is also the mysterious Kig server, which I cannot find anywhere. I'm pretty sure it just doesn't exist. So they get a 10 for being uncontested. Before we go further, I think it would be prudent to actually investigate the former Hive. When you see a remake of something, some questions immediately come to mind. Is it a carbon copy? Have they revamped the whole thing? Did they just make a pile of garbage and brand it as a remake of the Hive so that the sad nostalgic players will be forced to unhappily submit to their server tyranny? So, this means we'll have to compare it to the original server, especially what seems to be Revive's most prominent games, Trouble in Mineville and Bed Wars. The only problem is that the last time I played on the Hive before it shut down was 8 months ago. Ergo, there's only one solution. Ah yes, REViveMC on Bedrock, the popular server which outlived its Java comrade. First, I needed to quickly get reacquainted with Bedrock, which I had only played for a total of 2 days a few years ago. Here I am creating a world. Here am I trying to understand what the actual hell become cow means. Here am I learning that for some reason not all of your hits actually land. Like, well, what the hell? Why would you do that? Ah yes, now I can finally play on REViveMC Bedrock Edition. Wait a minute, this doesn't look like REViveMC Java at all. Wait a second, Bed Wars and Trouble in Mineville aren't even options. Hey, why won't that idiot stop spamming the chat? Is this total anarchy? Oh, of course. Treasure Wars must be off-brand Bed Wars, so let's play that. First, I initiate my impregnable tactic. Am new to Ed Brock. Please no kill. There we go. There we go. Problem solved. But the problem wasn't solved. I was forced to beat a man to death before that sentiment was reciprocated. Well, that's Alien Bed Wars for you. Next was Trouble in Mineville, so I made the far-reaching stretch of playing Murder Mystery, which is nothing like Trouble in Mineville, but we're gonna pretend it's the same game. The murderer immediately kills in front of me, because this game is stupid, and then the game ends shortly after. Let's see what I have to say. It was completely fruitless and a waste of time. And a waste of time it was, after I discovered something quite vital in my next part of the video. I've interpreted this to be finding the server. Just typing revive server will of course give you nothing, as that is vague and is not that well known of a server. I then typed in revive server Minecraft and found it via third party, not even the actual Revive website, and then watched this nice cinematic, which I found quite boring, and then I found the link to the actual Revive website. But first I had to identify what a boat was, getting it first time, because there is no question as to whether I am a robot or not. I then found the website and found that it is very, 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 very boring. It looks more like some random forum, which it is, and an actual homepage telling you all about the server and trying to convince you to play it. Not a good introduction to the server if someone decides to find the website before trying out the server. So then I decided to look for the YouTube channel. Matt UK, from which the cinematic was from, decided not to link the actual Revive channel, which I believe to be a stupid move, Matt. Unbelievable. I then looked up Revive server Minecraft into YouTube and found not the actual server, just Fortnite or Dream. I don't know what this is. I then remembered on Shadowfax's video, more on that later, that the Revive YouTube channel had actually commented on his video, and there it was. Ignore the fact that I also commented on the video but received 0 recognition, very uncool. And here was the channel. Wow, even less subscribers than I have, even though they get way more views on their videos on average. I then proceeded to watch every single video on the channel for research purposes. My favorite was the Trouble in Mineville trailer. We see our main character, Jax, like an absolute idiot, commit first-degree murder in front of 5 crewmates. Insert funny Amogus reference here. Jax then runs while being chased by an angry mob from 1692, and then jumps into water. Our mob apparently are also complete idiots, as they forget that they can just land in water, and Jax evades them. Well done, Jax. Good job. Jax then gets killed for obvious reasons, only to reveal that Jax, the son of a bitch, was an innocent the entire time. This clearly tells old Trouble in Mineville fans that yes, this is Trouble in Mineville, as if people randomly killing innocents because idiocy will never be erased from this planet. I also really like the comments. I think the best comment has to be Samuel, who just said, "Shot on iPhone." The other videos were less silly and very intent on getting people to find the server, especially their YouTube shorts, which are just like very cringy TikToks. I wouldn't know though, since I don't have a TikTok. I also cannot believe they would suggest that blowing yourself up is an effective strategy against Dream Tyler Ninja Fortnite Blevins. What the videos really show though is that all of their maps are custom made but have the same concepts as the original Hive, meaning that going on REViveMC Bedrock was a waste of time, and you should be upset that I even include that part in my video. As for setup process, I give them a 3 out of 10. Both their YouTube channel and website were quite hard to find unless you knew where to look. They are really trying with their YouTube channel, but I cannot tell how effective it is. I've interpreted this to be how to hear about the server and how many people play on it. We already established that their marketing department, try as they might, is quite crap. I first heard about the server from Shadowfax's video, where in the intro he promotes the server, and in my eyes he has done infinitely better than the Revive marketing team, even though their videos get more views. I even got a comment on one of my videos which mentioned the server, so I guess the best thing which is going for them is word of mouth, so to speak. As for player base, the most people I've ever seen on so far has been in the high 40s, and the lowest was a solid 0 people. The highest number is about 4% of Mineplex's player base, and Mineplex is widely considered to be a dead server. For noise level, I'm giving Revive a fat 0. That seems cruel for a grassroots server, but I'll explain why later. Now we move on to the part where I finally actually go onto the server. I will say I initially had high hopes. I also expected on the server to be in like 1 game or something, since there are very few players. Because I'm super famous, I decided to buy my friend a Minecraft account and then steal it for this video. I joined the server at 1 PM CST when there were 43 players online to get the full experience of what the server is like with a lot of people on. What greeted me as a welcome back text, which didn't make sense as this was the first time I had ever been on the server, like what the hell? My first impression was that it was so very empty. There were only a few people talking in chat, and the giant hub made me feel like a very, very small fish in a very, very large pond. I also noticed that of the 44 people online, only half, 23, were in the lobby. I then noticed that only 15 people were actually playing the games, which is less than the people chilling in the lobby. I was surprised to see that Trouble in Mineville had 0 players, as well as Bed Wars, even though like on every server Bed Wars is super popular. I decided to play Death Run as there was the most people in the game, and ended up joining a very small game of only 3 people. And of those 3, none of them were assigned the death roll. But then it's just run, isn't it? There's no game here. It's not even like a race. You just run with 0 consequences if you don't, and there are very few obstacles. Where's the danger? They just took all away the originality of Death Run. It kind of felt like those running maps on Exploding TNT server, which was actually quite a good server. Those were really fun, but this is very linear and I might say boring. Playing another game of Death Run, this time with free 5 people, and still no one was death. What's the point? I then played Block Party. I was startled that Enjoy Your Game was in the rule book. Eventually we got a game started with 5 people, and it felt like, well, Block Party? There's not much else to say. I was surprised that the people playing the game somehow already had really high ranks, because this clearly is all they play on the server. I guess if you really like Block Party, then Revive is for you. I came back to the lobby after losing the game, and was upset to see that, still, the majority of the server was just vibing in the hub. I also noticed that for some reason there are multiple lobbies, even though barely anyone plays, which I thought was weird. I then caught a few people having intercourse for some reason, and a mod flying around. It was quite obvious that everyone was probably in the Revive Discord, although it shouldn't feel like going on the Discord is a server requirement to actually enjoy it. It all felt very, 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 very quiet. And boring, especially the boring part. Like, I was recording with my mic on, and I just felt the need to say nothing because it was just that quiet. At one point I just joined a Trouble in Mineville lobby for the hell of it. I did some parkour and found some weird spot which made more noise than the totality of the entire server. Which the devs later told me that it was just a bit broken. I went back to spawn and was greeted again with the silence of nothing happening. Some people looked like they wanted to have an orgy, but not much else. At one point a VIP, Zorkai, if that is their real name, tried to get their group to play Trouble in Mineville. Guys, please stop having sex! Ugh, and they're watching. What are you doing? Finally, a Trouble in Mineville game with 7 people. Looting chests worked the same way on the Hive, which was nice to see, and the map was really nice, especially the testing chamber. I noticed the detective didn't have a blue name, so I guess they're just figuring it out still. The rest of the game, though, looked like this. Well, that sure was the game. We then played again on the same map, and this game looked like this. Wow, that was, yep, And then everyone left, and that was the last time I played Trouble in Mineville. I then left the server. I was about to go on a very angry rant, but before I did, I decided to give the server another chance. I went on during that weird spike at 10 PM CST and found that everyone was in one game, which was what I thought was going to happen the first time. We got a game of 8 people in Block Party, and it was pretty cool. Someone even complimented my friend's skin that he made, so way to go, Duck Dog Incorporated, good job! I somehow won the game and then left the server as the group decided to just vibe in the hub. Again. Also, this weird Red William guy is always on, and I don't think he's living, because I kind of shot him in the face, and he didn't react, so I don't know what that's about. Alright, time for round 3. I joined the server at 2 p.m. CST the next day to see if everything was the same. There were only 27 people on, and for once, most of them were not in the lobby. Red William was still there, of course. I then played Death Run again with no death, and the only thing I got out of the other players was that it was just because there's so few people. But come on, what's the point? Then went to Block Party and got a game of 11 people. Of course, all of the other 10 players were all pros, but I feel like that's expected. I even saw some of the other losers who were just vibing in the lobby yesterday actually playing the game, and that was it. That was the Revive experience. Time for the review part! Nothing felt like pay to win, which is good, but I felt no reason to actually buy a rank or something. Found it kind of weird that a fledgling server would even have ranks since it doesn't have much to offer people yet, but that's besides the point. The ranks costed less than they did on the Hive, so I guess they're more fairly priced. But I remember my reason for wasting my money on the Hive was because you could get into full games and wouldn't, although I sometimes did, get kicked out of a game to make room for a ranked user. There isn't that same incentive as I haven't even played a full game yet. So price gets a 2, because even though they are kind of fairly priced, I see no reason to actually spend any money on this server yet. Design is definitely a 10. The maps and the lobbies are beautiful and really well made. Of course, there are some odd building techniques, but it's clear the build team is very talented and put a lot of effort into the little of the server I actually did get to see. So, keep that in mind, because I think the rest of the video may be more of lambasting the server, if anything. So, just keep in mind that it really is a good server, at least where building is concerned. It's really, really good. I give performance a negative question mark. Why a question mark? Because I couldn't play all the games, could I? But more on that later. The server wasn't laggy, and any lag you see in the video is probably from me, because my computer has been very laggy recently. As for glitches, there was only that weird rain cloud, so the server functioned pretty damn well. I found it a bit unnerving that pressure plates don't work or make noise, so I hope there is some fix for that. The games I did play were fine, and except for Death Run, seemed to work as intended. The blue name of the detectives didn't work in Trouble Mineville, but that's not really something that's just like kind of something to nitpick, really. I couldn't tell if the Trouble Mineville maps made sense, because there just weren't enough people in the game for me to realize that a map might have a lot of annoying spots for campers, or if it is really hard for one side to win over the other, or whether it's completely balanced. For Death Run, I really honestly do not understand why there isn't a guaranteed death in every game. Again, it defeats the whole purpose of the game. You're running through an obstacle course while someone tries to sabotage you, and is much more boring without trying to bait out the traps or avoiding TNT blowing up or eating ass. Hello, Future Bob here. I just wanted to make the note that for Death Run, the intros are also really, way too fast. It's kind of like this failed compromise between not wanting an intro because intros are boring and long, but we still want to include an intro, but it's just way too fast. The only options are to just get rid of it or to extend the length, because it just really doesn't look good. And as a player, you can barely comprehend what it's even showing you because the things don't load quickly enough. So, my last gripe concerning performance is the entirety of the joining a game system. Since the server is so small, I think that there needs to be certain systems in place which try and get the most people into one game as possible. In Mineplex, you would merge lobbies with a bigger one, and on both Mineplex and Hypixel, you have the option of joining a game which is already in progress. I feel like something like that is needed, because I was very disappointed when I joined a Death Run game which was being played by 8 people and got into a shoddy game of only 3. I think that maybe just joining you automatically to a game already being played is more preferred than a small game, because I would rather wait to play in a game with 9 people rather than get in immediately with a game of 3 people. And I'm not really and I think they expect their players to wait, given that 2 whole games have 0 people playing them. Block Party was okay, but that's only because all the people playing it were in a party together. So, yeah. The server had 5 games, 3 of which were unplayable because no one cares about them or wants to play them. Death Run is a shit game unless you're really just into the run part. Block Party works as intended and you'll probably always find a lobby. Trouble in Mineville, the game I was the most excited for, good luck finding a game. Who the hell knows what Bed Wars had to offer? For all I know, it could have just been a dumpster fire, where when you join the game you immediately explode. I have no way of telling whether that game functions, even if it exists. Maybe just join a survival game. So, I guess their server gets a 2 out of 10, since only 1 out of 5 of the games are playable. Finally, testing Insight. I give the overall server a 3 or 4 out of 10. That may sound really harsh, especially for such a young server, but I mean, it's been out for a few months now. I think the server is really good hypothetically. I mean, the building is really nice, the games function as intended, but so maybe hypothetically, if they had the player base, they would get an 8 out of 10, because there's still stuff they need to fix. But I can't give them a good grade because I don't see that hypothetical ever being achieved. The marketing department is pretty bad, and the devs seem to ignore the fact that once someone comes to the server, there's no guarantee they're going to come back. It's not like YouTube where you make a Minecraft tutorial and then get subscribers from people who forget they've subscribed to you. When I joined the server for the first time, I felt unwelcome. It felt like everyone was doing that sadist move where they speak in another language when with friends who clearly don't understand the language. Actually, more like sign language, because it just felt so damn quiet. The mods really need to actually try to get people to stay on their server. Given the amount of mods on, they shouldn't be chilling in the lobby while some of their games, which the developers work so damn hard on, are being played by no one. If I joined and really liked games like Bed Wars, maybe the mods should be playing Bed Wars so that new player can actually experience it. The server has not reached the point where the mods can just sit back in the lobby while players play their game. The games can't survive on their own. I feel like when I joined, I would probably never come back, but I really want to see the server succeed, because Hypixel hasn't stolen Trouble in Mineville yet. I don't know of any other servers which have that game, so I'm biased to want to stay on the server. But I feel like if I was a new player, Dr. Pepper fan, who didn't know anything about the server coming in, they would not have joined again. I mean, even the biggest game, Block Party, the amount of people in it was only half of a full game. People aren't playing that much yet. I can't give the server a high score if I can't imagine the server growing at all. It's probably always going to stay around that 40 mark, like at best. It's going to be stagnant forever. Hey, if you like Block Party, and only Block Party, then good news for you. Since that game is perfect, you'll find some sort of lobby with people to play it with, and you'll probably have a good time. Sure, you'll be playing with the same people over and over and over again, and they're all really good at the game, but that's just a sacrifice you have to pay. If you're someone like me, who thinks that Block Party is fine, but really repetitive and cyclical, then screw you, bitch, there's nothing else to play! If I was someone who worked on creating any of the games besides Block Party, I would be pissed off that no one was playing it. I really hope no other games are currently in development, because what would be the point? No one would play them anyway, and if they did, it would probably just take the 5 people away from playing Death Run. I wish I could give the server a higher score, because again, I am heavily biased, because I really want to see it grow and join one day where I can actually play an enjoyable game of Trouble in Mineville. But I can't if I think that day won't come because the server's doing a shit job of retaining new players. That's it. Review over. I probably wouldn't recommend this server to anyone unless I knew that I could actually play a game with them, so I can't give it a high score. So again, 3 out of 10 for the overall server. I want to know what you guys think of the server. I'm curious to know in the comments. I read them, even the ones that make me want to defenestrate myself. Also, let me know if you would like to see another video similar to this one. This is the first video out of school, which I actually have scripted. So, yeah. Anyway, see you guys later.